Well, good morning. What a beautiful morning. It's hot too. Whew. We are walking through Protmock Hill, this beautiful park that I enjoy going in the morning. We're gonna make our way over towards Jom Tien and grab a bite to eat later on tonight. And I wanted to talk to you about a subject that's come up in my comment section quite often, which is how do I invest for traveling full time? How am I doing that? I wanna make sure that these videos that I'm putting out to you are doing two basic things. One, inspiring you to actually travel and live overseas to lower your cost of living. That's one. But two, to actually give you some good information. And the best way for me to do that, because I'm not a financial advisor, but I can tell you what I did. That's the best information that I can give you, is to give you a real world example of how I invested step by step, how I went through a financial change in my life so that I could travel and live overseas full time. And that's what we're going to talk about in this video. One of the first things that I had to do, and this was about 15 years ago now, I went on my first trip probably about 16 years ago to Thailand. And I realized there was so much more to the world than just the place that I was living. Not only were there lower cost places, but places with people that were friendlier, places that showed appreciation and respect for those who have worked hard and are showing up on the door of that country with money to invest and spend. There were cultures that had better moral framework and better ethical framework. There were other places to live. And when I went to Thailand, I found one. And I set into motion a plan to step by step change my life financially so that I could live in Southeast Asia full time. The first thing that I had to do was take a look at my current financial situation. And it was not good. I had just gone through a divorce, peaceful divorce, but divorces these days, they financially destroy you. Ugh. I was $60,000 in debt. Whew. I found myself in a position where I wasn't just broke, but I was worse than broke. I was deep in debt. And I had to set boundaries as to what I was gonna spend every day so that I could actually make these big payments on that debt and knock it down. I remember I had a coworker tell me who had gone through the same thing. And he said, it's gonna take you 5 years. And I said to him, no way, no, I'm gonna have this knocked out like in 2 years, man, in 2 years. Well, just like him, I had kids, I had to pay for a roof over my head. There was no way I was gonna get it done in 2 years. It took me 5 years to get back just to zero, to having no debt. Then I had to build my retirement and investments from there. Whew. So I had my first step out of the way to buckle down, completely change my budget, and pay off my debt. The next step was make more money. I could take a little bit of a risk now because I didn't have debt. I was able to take the risk and jump to a training that would be for a job that paid me more money. And it worked. I studied IT skills with people half my age. I wasn't the only person in there my age either. Other people were making the transition as well. And in the end, we had an income that meant we could actually start investing for the future. So buckling down on your budget, 1, 2, pay off your debts. And 3, you need to make more money. That means you need to invest in you next. That's step 3. The fourth thing that I had to do was to get myself a property. Now you might think, what? A fourth thing is a property? Well, I'll tell you why that is. Let me sit down here for a second. Ooh, it's so hot out here. When you have real estate, you want to start building that over time. You want it to start building value over time. And the sooner you get it, the better. That means you have to put some money away every month so that you have that down payment. If you have a 20% down payment, the mortgage companies like that, okay? They look at that like, okay, you're a less risky person. to give this loan to. And you can also, in many cases, avoid paying mortgage insurance. So that's nice as well. So I did that. It took me time, but when the time came that I had enough to put down on a property, owning that property changed my life financially. I wasn't paying rent anymore. I was paying a mortgage. I was paying myself and my future, and the property grew in value. So that's the fourth step. After I had a property secured, I was able to focus on the next step, which was to build up my stock portfolio. And this meant I had to take a portion of my paycheck. And I did this for quite some time, you know. I had done it in the past, but I had lost everything about halfway through my life, as we talked about earlier, and had to rebuild everything. How do you do that in a short amount of time? How do you build up a stock portfolio that's significant enough that you can live off the dividend interest from those dividend stocks? But you're already reaching 50. What are you going to do? It's a scary time to be in, I'll tell you. It's frightening. You look at yourself and go, look, my body, I've been putting it, you know, through the ringer with the military and everything else that I've been in. I don't just have decades and decades to go for work. I need to get this done. And so I went overseas and I worked in a dangerous area. I worked in an area that took rocket fire every week, but they paid me. Like a soldier going off to battle, I left the United States, went far overseas, worked in a dangerous area, and took the risks to change my life financially faster. And I didn't have anything to pay for. I was just living over there in a tent. Food was provided. All I did was invest my money. I was able to build a portfolio in a short amount of time. Let's talk about how I invested and give you some examples. When I started to buy dividend stocks to invest in, the idea was I wanted them to pay me a good amount of interest every quarter, but at the same time, I wanted them to be safe. I didn't want to take risky stocks. You know, growth stocks can be risky, but they can be very rewarding too. But when you build passive income for the long term, you want as safe a stocks as possible. I want to give you an example of some of the stocks that I invest in. That's the best way, because I can't tell you what to invest in. In fact, I'm not some kind of financial investor. I can't do that. But I can tell you what I am actually investing in and give you some examples so you can see how to diversify your portfolio so you're not all in one thing. Let's talk about some of the stocks that I invest in and why. First is I don't really like to invest in stocks that face the customer like in retail. I find them to be volatile, and you know, whatever the political winds are of the time, it can just shatter a stock. It can send it crashing, and people not buying a particular product because something that someone said, you know. So I have a tendency to go back a few steps to either the manufacturing stage or even earlier than that. One of the stocks that I enjoy investing in is PIC. PIC is basically a group of mining stocks that do industrial metals. And the idea is that it's not flashy, but it's very important. It doesn't have to grow like crazy. I just want it to pay me. And that's a good example of the kind of stocks that I'm going to tell you about that I invest in. They're diversified within themselves, and they don't face the customer, okay? And they are providing me not with flashy, but stable long-term income. Let's talk about the next one. Another stock that I enjoy investing in is called UTF. This is a utility fund that is made up of a lot of different infrastructure stocks of different kinds, not just utilities like you think as far as water and power, but pipelines and things like that. Infrastructure that basically keeps society running. And that's one of the reasons why I love it. It provides me with a good return, stable. It's not as volatile as retail stocks can be. And again, there's a lot of projects within it. That's why I like it. Similar to UTF, but more energy focused is ET. This stock has a bunch of energy products within it. There's different money-making energy businesses and energy projects inside of it. And again, is it flashy? No. Have you heard the CEO making crazy statements online? Nope. Okay. But it does provide stable returns, and that's what I'm looking for. It also doesn't necessarily face the customers. Okay. It's part of the infrastructure that makes society work. That's where I like to invest. Let's keep going. There's a lot of great dividend stocks that are available in the Canadian market. A lot. In fact, some of the banks and some of the mining companies from Canada, they're fantastic. One particular stock that I enjoy from Canada is BAM. It's a Brookfield company stock. And they do a variety of, again, energy and infrastructure projects that make money. Because the projects make money, they're able to pay a dividend to the owners of the stock. You might notice that I kind of like to grab a stock from different sectors. I don't want them all to be in energy, and I don't want them all to be like in building pipelines or electrical companies. I don't want them all to just be in mining. I want to diversify my portfolio, but at the same time, I want it to be a stable stock that has multiple projects inside of it. There are times when I will buy an individual company though, and there's a couple of great ones out there, okay? Some of them I'll tell you are volatile, and you need to think about, is this what I want to hold in my portfolio or not? One example of that is I hold Pfizer stock, PFE. It's volatile. It goes down, it goes up, changes in politics. We have some kind of world lockdown and it skyrockets, then it crashes again after. But through it all, it pays me a wonderful dividend. And that's what I look for. I don't look for the short-term rise and fall. I don't look for the short-term political, what people think of the company or one product that they bring out. I want to know that it pays me on time and what it's supposed to pay me consistently. And another individual stock that does the same for me, but it's volatile as well, is SBLK. This is a shipping company, okay? This particular company, because it's a shipping company, every time the price of oil goes up, people get nervous and they're like, oh, we need to get out of this shipping company. And then every time the price of oil goes down, people are like, grab this shipping company, it's cheap. So you will see volatility, but through the volatility, people keep shipping their products. And while that happens, they make money. And when they make money, they pay you, the owner, okay? They pay you, the shareholder. So that's why I say that sometimes it's okay with the volatility as long as the company is making money and paying you the dividend.
In a future video, I will tell how I look at one company and analyze it to buy it.
I set up this portfolio in such a way that I can manage it wherever I am on Earth. And I'm going to do a separate video about that, about how I manage my banking, my credit cards, and basically do all of my financial management when I'm traveling overseas securely. I'm going to do a separate video to explain that to you. But this video was to talk about how I went from a place of being worse than broke to being able to retire early and travel the world step by step. Not just saying, rah, you can do it, but telling you how I did it. And that's important. And I'd like to know what you think in the comment section. Are you in a similar situation? Have you made a plan? You can let us know. It's anonymous, right? And we can give you some support as well, because I definitely support you in making positive changes in your life. I'm going to keep going. There's a lot more of Southeast Asia to see, and we're talking about what it takes to live overseas, not just like the day-to-day life, but also financially what it takes, what it costs, and how I set up my investments to be able to do this. I'm now gonna go grab a bite to eat. Come on along with me. We've got a lot more to see this year. I'm excited. It's been a great year too. It's hot. Whoo, Pattaya is tight. Oh, okay. We'll talk again soon. Aloha. This looks good. Oh, I like those. I like those right there. This is a chicken. That looks good. This one here. I'm gonna take one of these here and one. Just one and one. Oh, that looks so good.
What's that, mate?
This is the Thai sausage. Like Thai sausage, right? Yeah. I'm gonna get one of these. Yeah, I'm gonna get one of those. I like those. Those are good.
I stepped outside of 7-Eleven and he flanked me. The mad dog Pattaya, looking at me, patrolling the streets. He saw that I was gonna try and maneuver, and he came around the other side. The mad dog of Pattaya.
Wish I had a piece of chicken. Something for you.